Welcome to Mission X TV. Thanks for tuning in again. Today we're going to be talking to Bob Carr, the longest serving Premier in the Australian history. Now, Bob, you have become very health conscious in the last couple of years. When did you realize that health is actually your true wealth?
It's always been on my mind, and I mean, even when I was busy as Premier, I attempted to get out and do an hour's walk, an hour and a half's walk of an evening, or to leave the office and go for a walk around Sydney Harbour. And I was always very conscious of diet.
And what's your diet consisting now? What's the percentage of fruit and vegetables, for instance?
Oh, it's hard to say the percentage, but I eat a protein-based diet with heaps of vegetables. A lot of vegetables. I eat the only carbs I'd have would be some spelt bread and some oats or muesli in the morning. So my basic meal would be grilled salmon with vegetables or organic beef with vegetables. That's basically my diet. I'll have a big vegetable juice every day.
Okay. At least you're making up on the veggie side on that. How often do you work out, Bob?
I'd work out 4 or 5 times a week. I do weight training with a trainer. I do cardio training, generally interval training on the bike. And I do Pilates twice a week in the studio and several other times at home.
Fantastic.
On the floor.
Fantastic. So how do you manage to work out 4 or 5 days as you have such a busy schedule?
Well, you just put it in the diary. You put it in the diary, you book in a trainer, and you just keep that pressure on yourself. If you've got a trainer, then even when you don't feel like it, it's still there, and you're still doing more than you would do on your own.
Yes, exactly. And how do you, I know you travel a lot, and how do you manage to keep up with your busy workout schedule while you're traveling?
You just find a gym. Easier in some countries than others. Sometimes you've got a hotel gym. There are plenty of gyms in your home country, Germany. They're harder to find in Italy and France for some reason.
All right.
But you got to keep doing it, and of course traveling on holidays is an opportunity to do a great deal of walking.
And what do you think about high intensity interval training? Similar, we've done a few workouts together.
I accept the scientific evidence that the way to lift your cardio capacity and to lose weight is intervals. It's the intensity of the training rather than the amount of time. So in the past, I'd think I was doing well if I did 1.5 hours of walking a day. I tend now to do half an hour of concentrated training, of periodic sprinting, of interval training on the bike. And there's a case to be made for both of them, but I think the recent evidence is in favour of interval training when it comes to burning fat.
Yes, and of course, if you have a busy schedule, it's obviously much more time. Effective, efficient. Recently I introduced you to kettlebell workouts, and what do you think about kettlebells?
Look, I think it's very good. I think if you're used to gym work, you can get too hooked, too dependent on the standard weight training routine. And I think to break it up and to challenge yourself with kettlebells is very, very good.
To mix it up. That's interesting. And I know you obviously you like now outdoor workouts, and you love bushworking. How has your how's your vitamin D levels have improved spending more time outdoors?
I think I think the case for working outdoors is overwhelming. The air conditioning of a gym, working under fluorescent light in a gym, that cannot be ideal. You've always argued for working out outdoors, with the sun giving you that vitamin D injection. I think there's a huge difference.
Definitely. I believe you have done a lot of research in the fields of salts and fats. Would you like to share some of the facts and discoveries you made along the way with our viewers?
None of us need added salt. Salt is in the bread, it's in the pasta, it's in the tin food, it is everywhere. you don't need added salt. You don't need to add salt. When you go to a restaurant, you just say routinely, no salt with that. No salt with that.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, there's a bit of salt in the sauce, and you've got to say, yeah, but I mean, don't put any more in.
No extra salt.
And I just think we now know that there are good fats, the fats you get from avocados or from nuts, and we need them. We need more than we've been having. But I think minimising... I think when it comes to desserts, for example, nothing could be worse than that combination of fat and sugar.
Yeah.
We do know that sugar is just a disaster. There's no case for it. And
massive
if
disaster.
anyone is still drinking sugared drinks, they've got that's the first thing they've got to get out of their diet.
Exactly.
If anyone is still adding sugar to tea or coffee, that's something they've got to drop. Sugar shouldn't figure in our diet at all. There's no case to be made for it.
Yes. What lifestyle adjustments have you made in the last 5 to 10 years, and what benefits?
Well, the big one is giving up alcohol.
Yes.
2 years ago, I just gave it up.
That is a fantastic.
I'm someone who enjoyed a Pinot Noir or a Merlot.
Yeah.
But a doctor said to me, you can't drink and be slim because the sugar in alcohol goes round your middle. It's programmed by DNA to land in your middle, and you will not have slim hips, a flat stomach, male or female, if you're imbibing those glasses of red wine every evening, even the moderate quantity that we're told by some people is an antioxidant boost. Yeah. I think that's crap. I think you get the antioxidants from the fruit and vegetables.
Exactly.
The notion that you get it, you need to get it from sugary wine is simply bogus. And I think if you give up altogether, you'll feel better. There might be moments when you're in a restaurant and you think it'd be nice to have a glass of red wine with this or that. Yeah. But when you leave the restaurant and you're clear-headed and you haven't paid an extra $100 because of the wine you've had, then you see the advantage of simply saying no to alcohol. And if I can go for 2 years without a touch of alcohol, anyone can.
Exactly. That's a fantastic message, and thanks for that, Bob, because that is obviously a problem many people facing. More and more alcohol is a big problem. In regards to your energy levels, since you have changed and you train so much, you spend more time outdoors, and has your energy levels have gone up?
The honest answer is I can't be certain. I can't be certain. Sometimes I'm amazed by the amount of work I can get through in a day when I throw myself into it. And I think I use my energy better than I've ever done in the past. But I don't know whether I can honestly say the changes in lifestyle have boosted them, but I would hate to be attempting to live with a bad diet, no exercise, and a lot of alcohol. I just know I'd be behind.
Yes. How about coffee? I believe you gave up coffee as well. Or
yeah, I did. No, I gave it up, but I got to say I'm tempted by it.
Yeah.
And occasionally I'll have a sip of coffee. But it's very strong. And when you don't have coffee, and all of a sudden you experiment by having half a cup, you realise how powerful that is.
The little kick can be.
Yeah. So injecting that into your system 3, 4, 5 times a day is adding a very strong additional chemical.
Oh yeah.
And I would urge people to think about it, to pin back, to experiment with no coffee, and to live with no coffee for some time.
Yeah.
And if they want to drink one a day, to lift it to that level, but go no further.
Yeah. Look, as you know, I'm a raw vegan. What do you think about the raw vegan lifestyle? Obviously, cutting out a lot of toxic ingredients the average person is consuming every day.
Yeah. It's a big step. I can accept it intellectually. I understand the arguments for it, but it's a big step, one that I'm not able to make, at least at this stage. It's got to be good.
Yeah.
In the sense that you'll control obesity, you'll run no risk of diabetes. Your cholesterol levels are bound to be low, I would think.
Oh yeah.
A doctor could confirm that.
Oh yeah, definitely right, yeah.
And while the evidence is not overwhelming, you'd have to be putting yourself in a lower risk category when it comes to the cancers that are afflicting us.
Heart disease, cancer.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I can see the case. Maybe it's a step I will take, but I'm still wedded to a diet. Yes, with lots of vegetables, but with a protein, fish, chicken, or red meat component.
It takes time. Look, I didn't make the switch overnight either, you know. So it took me a few years to come to that level. Bob, you wrote the foreword for that amazing book, Unlocking Your Health and Happiness. And how exciting is it for you to see that book is now becoming a bestseller and is therefore helping millions of people to make better lifestyle choices and adjustments and yeah.
It's just fantastic. I've never seen a book that has brought together so much diverse material on healthy living. It's not just diet, not just exercise, but things like
lifestyle,
what you have in your home, the approach to life, the sort of carpets you have. I think it's remarkable. It's bound to get you thinking. I think you'd get more value out of this book than you would, more challenge out of this book than you would out of any other I can think of.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, thanks, Bob. If you would have one advice for our viewers, and last to wrap it up, to maybe get started in fitness or change to a more healthy lifestyle, what would it be?
I think what I've just said, give up alcohol.
Yeah.
Give up alcohol. Get those redundant sugars right out of your diet.
Yeah.
And that's a huge step towards weight control.
You
will live with less fat around your middle. You won't be your optimal lean self until you get alcohol out of your diet.
Yeah, to get the six-pack lifestyle. Thank you very much, Bob, for coming.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you. Thanks, Ralf. Good luck.